Most companies have one thing in common. They dread performance reviews. Employees hate them. Managers avoid them. And founders roll their eyes at the idea of losing a whole month to paperwork. And still every year, we end up doing them again because, well, that's how it's always been done around here. Hi, I'm James, and you're listening to the Leadership in 5 podcast. This is episode 5 on our Execution That Scales series. Let's get right into this today. Annual performance reviews are one of the biggest leadership failures still alive in business today. They're retroactive, they're reactive, and they're almost always run by the wrong people. In many companies, HR took them over years ago, not because HR wanted to, but because managers didn't. It was easier to outsource feedback than it was to own it. And that's the problem. Performance isn't HR's job, it's a leader's job. And you can't build a high-performing culture with one conversation a year. You can't develop people based on 12-month-old memories. And you can't call something accountability if no one even remembers the goals that were set in the first place. When performance feedback happens once a year, it's not feedback, it's a post-mortem. And everyone leaves that meeting thinking the same thing. What a huge waste of time. What if every person on your team knew exactly how they were doing every month? What if feedback wasn't an event to prepare for, but a rhythm to participate in? Sound too good to be true? I'm going to challenge that idea. The truth is, it already exists. It's called a progress meeting, and it's built into the KeyneLink system. It's not a form. It's not an evaluation. It's a real conversation about progress and performance, attitude, behavior. Once a month, every employee meets with their leader to talk about their performance and goals. You know, the work itself, the outcomes, and the leading actions that move them forward. We talk about core behaviors every month, how that person is showing up for the team and living the company's values on a day-to-day basis. And development and feedback. That's always talked about. What does the employee need? What's next? What's working? Let me say this again. That's not HR's responsibility. That is a leadership responsibility. And here's what happens when you do it right. People don't dread feedback. They depend on it. They don't wonder where they stand because they already know. Managers can stop guessing, employees can stop coasting, and founders, well, you finally get what you've been asking for all along, a team that owns its results. Because here's the secret. Performance reviews aren't supposed to be a yearly audit. They're supposed to be an ongoing dialogue. The best leaders don't wait for a report to tell them what's real. They're already in the conversation. They don't review performance. They are in rhythm with it. So if your company still does annual reviews, stop pretending they work. Start building a system that does. Use something like KeyneLink to make expectations clear, feedback consistent, and accountability proactive. See, that's how you create a culture where performance isn't managed, it's inevitable. So here's something to reflect on today. What if every person on your team knew exactly how they were doing every month? What would that change about your culture? How would that improve your leadership? And how would it lead to better results? That's what we're thinking about today.